Thank you, Representative McGeehan. Next, we will hear from Tammy Lerner. Tammy is Vice President of the Foundation to Abolish Child Sex Abuse and a founding member. She holds a BA from Columbia University, where her studies focused on sexual crimes used as a weapon of war in democratizing states. Tammy is also a survivor. Tammy.
Hi, thanks, Maureen. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone here and representatives. Thank you so much for having the courage to shine the light on this horrible atrocity that Maureen was right and Al was right is a public health care epidemic. And I'm not going to be as nice as they were, actually, when I use the words. I'm just giving you notice right now. I'm honestly sick and tired of using nice words. So let's just get real, and let's call it what it is. It's rape, it's sodomy, it's forced oral sex. It's the most grotesque kind of manipulation, betrayal, and coercion of the mind and body that anyone, any human, could ever imagine to happen to them. And it's happening to children. It changes the trajectory of their life. It changed the trajectory of my life. It changed the trajectory of Al's life. He's 53 years old, and he's just now can talk about it. When I was a little girl, I never in a million years thought that I didn't think to myself when people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be the vice president of a foundation to abolish child sex abuse. Yay, that's not what I wanted to be. And no little girl or little boy should have to be in the position that we're in right now to be standing in the capital of Pennsylvania or whatever other state it is and trying to fight and trying to convince apathetic minds what's right. It's like Al said, it's black or it's white. Are you for children or are you against children? It's that simple. You know, I stand here in this adult body, but when I recall what happened to me, it's preserved through the brain of a 4 through a 12-year-old, of what that 12-year-old Tammy saw and felt and smelled and heard. And so I think that I qualify as an expert in understanding the power of how words are manipulated to minimize incidents for the sake of making people less uncomfortable, or maybe more less uncomfortable, and making them more comfortable in their apathetic and complicit actions towards the heinous crimes. And it's all in an effort to make those actions somewhat justifiable, not just to themselves, but to others. You know, I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I really think that I've been patient with our elected leaders. And these are the people that we're paying to work for us, not the other way around, right? I think you guys would agree with that. And so it's really frustrating that I'm standing here yet again. I was here in March, and we're still on the same issue. And it just makes one wonder, you know, why that is. And I have a pretty good idea, which I'll come back to in closing. But, you know, I feel like it's a different year, it's a different month, it's a different day, same players, same faces, same weak excuses. Let's just do what's right for kids. So I promised Maureen I would try to keep this as short as possible, and I promise I'm not going to go too much longer. But I do want to touch on one thing, and keeping with my angry, ticked-off theme. You know, when I was here in March, I said that I'm not just a survivor, I'm an angry survivor. And I said I'm an angry survivor because CSA affects everyone, because it is a health epidemic. And because it's a healthcare epidemic, that in turn means that there's a huge economic impact associated with it. And people need to wake up and realize this. You know, you may think that CSA doesn't affect you, but it does. It directly impacts your pocketbook. And I would think that it's something that people would be interested in, especially given the economic situation in Pennsylvania today. And so I'm just going to share with you a statistic that probably will blow your mind, for lack of a better word. By one estimate, childhood sex abuse costs over $400 billion a year, and that's a conservative estimate. And in Pennsylvania, that estimate is short-term, it's $138 million a year. Long-term, over $1.4 billion. What else could we be doing with those funds? Short term, $138 million. Wake up, representatives and senators, wake up. So on top of that, I'm not even going to go down my list that I have here of the long-term health care consequences, one of which is cancers. There's just too many diseases to list. I would refer anybody who's interested in finding out more about the healthcare aspect of it to look at the ACE study, the ACE study, and you can get a list of all of the different types of long-term healthcare impacts. And the last thing that I'm going to read to you is a direct quote from that ACE study, just to keep in mind. It suggested that coping with these problems represents a serious public health challenge, and that progress in preventing and recovering from the nation's worst health and social problems, is likely to benefit from understanding that many of these problems arise as a consequence of adverse childhood experiences such as childhood sexual abuse. That's a powerful, powerful thing. And I would think for anybody, like the state of Pennsylvania, who's looking to save some money and move forward in tough economic times, shouldn't we be listening and paying attention to some of these statistics? Why aren't we? So I would suggest that above and beyond a moral imperative to do what's right for childhood victims of sexual abuse, to protect future children from becoming victimized, because these bills that are being presented are also a preventative tool. It's not just looking back to find justice for victims like myself and like Al, who've told the statutes. It's a great preventative tool, too. Give law enforcement the tools to help protect their kids. Give caregivers the tools to help protect their kids. And give Pennsylvanians back what's rightfully theirs. Some sense of protection. So I would fully support all of these bills that the representatives are fighting for, and I would encourage all of you to please do the same. Thank you so much for allowing me the time to talk.